Hello, welcome to A Few Minutes with Jonah. I'm Buddy Pennington, pastor of Westfield Assembly of God in Holmes County, Florida. I'll be your host for the study. I apologize for the length of time between our last lesson and this one. We had some serious camera problems and we had to rectify those. I appreciate your patience. I'm going to continue with lesson number 1 and part number 3. I'll be reading to you from the New Living Translation from Jonah, chapter number 1, and beginning with verse 4. Allow me to do that for you now. But the Lord hurled a powerful wind over the sea, causing a violent storm that threatened to break the ship apart. Fearing for their lives, the desperate sailors shouted to their gods for help and threw the cargo overboard to lighten the ship. But all this time Jonah was sound asleep down in the hold. So the captain went down after him. "How can you sleep at a time like this?" he shouted. "Get up and pray to your God. Maybe he will pay attention to us and spare our lives." Now, in this particular part of our study, Jonah has already booked his passage to Tarshish from the eastern coast of the Mediterranean out of Joppa. Now, he did that running away from God. He was going to get just as far away from Nineveh as he could so that he wouldn't have to go tell Nineveh that God was going to destroy them in his judgment. He booked his passage, got on the ship, and went down into the hold of the ship and is taking a nap. God sends a terrible tempest, a storm, against the sea, has a definite effect on the ship. The sailors, who are seasoned sailors, sailing across the Mediterranean, are frightened for their lives. It was such a bad tempest. They even went so far as to throw the cargo off the ship so that they would lighten the ship so it would ride higher in the water. Something must have happened that caused the captain to realize that Jonah was not on the deck with the rest of the people on the ship. He went down into the hold and found Jonah asleep. He woke him up and basically asked him, "What are you doing? You need to get up and pray to your God because we are desperate here. Maybe he'll have mercy on us and keep us from dying." There's an interesting thing I'd like us to consider as we look at this part of the study. Jonah is running away from God. As he is running away from God, his hesitancy to accept God's call and go do what God has called him to do has had an effect on the lives of other people. God sent that tempest to get Jonah's attention, but it's having an effect on the sailors and the rest of the people on that ship. Sometimes whenever we refuse to accept God's call and refuse to go do what he tells us he wants us to do, the consequences of that refusal will have an impact on the lives of other people. Now, in Jonah's case, a storm comes against the ship and the lives of the sailors are threatened. Regardless of what kind of refusal we may give to God, there always are going to be times when what we refuse to do has an impact on the lives of other people. We are not living as islands in the world alone with nobody else around us. When we decide we're not going to do what God wants us to do, it will have an effect on the lives of people around us. And sometimes those lives are our immediate family. They're our best friends. They're our loved ones. They're our co-workers. They're people who live in our neighborhood. They're people that we would have touched under God's call. However, our refusal has an impact on their lives too. And many times, because of our refusal, the impact is a negative impact. I want to encourage you in this part of this lesson. When God calls you to do something, do not run away. Answer his call, because your refusal to do what he wants you to do could very well impact somebody that you love. It's our prayer that this Bible study is going to be a blessing to you. We encourage you to share links to the study on your own social media. Also, would like to invite you to visit our Facebook page, which is Westville AG at 2513 Cypress Street. May God richly bless you until the next time whenever we get together for a few minutes with Jonah.